All right, everybody, we're going to get started for our Advocacy and Fundraising February Advocate webinar. We're really excited to have you here today, and we've got a really great slide deck that's been prepared for you by some amazing Platinum ambassadors. On the call today, we have Kelby Calvi. She's one of our 2017 Platinum ambassadors, and she is the chair of the National Walk to Cure Arthritis Committee. We were also hoping to have Anna Lagasse on our call today, the 2018 National Walk to Cure Arthritis Adult Honoree and Platinum Ambassador for the year. But unfortunately, Anna's unable to join the call today. She's having some health issues, so we'll be instead cheering her on from afar and sending her some good health vibes to help her get through this morning. So instead, Kelby and I are going to take over the slides that Anna would have presented and share them with you guys and try to take on some of the wisdom Anna has and give it to all of you. So to get started, I want to tell you a little bit about why we're looking at fundraising and advocacy as our topic for today. And it really comes down to our families, our stories of resilience and hope throughout their journeys with arthritis. Because what we've come to realize is so much of the Arthritis Foundation and what the Arthritis Foundation can do with their volunteers is to empower families and patients and caregivers to really share their story and give them a voice in their disease story. And so one family in particular really exemplifies what this looks like to me. And we wanted to give you some strong examples of some families who are really just absolutely kicking butt at both fundraising and advocacy and sharing their stories so that they can really make a difference for people with arthritis. And Anna and Kelby are going to give you some of that wisdom later today as well. But I want to tell you a little bit about the McComb family from Texas. Now, Chris McComb is a 2017 Platinum Ambassador, and he and his son Clay are going to be joining us at our Platinum Ambassador Assembly next month. Chris and his wife Angela, they shared this following quote with me, and I think it just really sets the stage for what we're going to talk about today. So this is what they said. They said, "We were just a typical family until juvenile arthritis turned our world upside down nearly 8 years ago by the diagnosis of our daughter Molly. We made a commitment to her that if she would fight the disease, then we would fight for a cure. We set a goal for raising $1,000 every year until Molly had a cure, but we had no idea how we would do it. We just set the initial goal and had faith that it would happen. During these last 8 years, we have now had all of our children diagnosed with various stages of juvenile arthritis. Arthritis may have altered our lives, but through it all, we have had so many unexpected blessings. We have traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with our legislators multiple times. We have raised more than $146,000 for research, and we have written and spoken about the importance of removing step therapy on a state and national level. People have asked us how we have achieved some of these things, and we tell them that we are amazed every day by other families, but most of all that we are amazed by the children who fight this disease. The strength, the courage, and the perseverance, we are in awe of them. And we are the same as all of the other families that are impacted by this disease because we all have a story to share that is meaningful and that can make a difference. So we tell people to just set a goal, to raise money, to advocate, and even if it's small, just continue to work towards that goal. You'll be amazed where this journey can take you. 8 years later, our children have grown, but we still fight on because there isn't a cure yet. But someday there will be with your help." So that's our quote from the McComb family, and I just think it's really, really powerful and motivating because it's a quote, it's a story that really offers the experiential wisdom of somebody who has experienced the disease and become an owner, became unstoppable against it by sharing their story. And so we want to tell you a little bit about why fundraising is such an important part of our advocacy journey, how we can use our fundraising skills, our advocacy skills to accomplish both when we're sharing our stories. And so what does it mean? Well, because of you, we have built a strong voice at the state and federal level. By telling your patient and caregiver stories to insurers and regulators, you have helped us make sure that people with arthritis have access to optimal care and the best medication at affordable costs. One statistic that I'm really amazed by, we were calculating over the past 4 years how many legislative victories we've had, and we've passed over 70 laws that have increased access to care in the states for more than 51.5 million people, and that's because of the work that you have done. Our advocates have ensured that healthcare plans ease the burdens of those with arthritis rather than making goals harder to reach. Our advocates empower us to make game-changing decisions every day. But advocacy is just one part of our holistic mission. It's one part of how we share our stories to find a cure. And fundraising is an equally empowering opportunity for folks to do the same thing. And so we're going to have Kelby speak about some of the amazing things that we can do as we advocate and fundraise for arthritis. But first, I want to share this little bit of wisdom that Anna Lagasse had said. And when she said this to me, it really transformed my perception of how advocacy and fundraising utilize the same skills. And that's what we're really getting at today. You have the skills as advocates to be amazing fundraisers. You have the skills as fundraisers to be amazing advocates. And we can really multiply our efforts and maximize our impact by working on those things together. So this is something that Anna had said that really opened my eyes to those skills. And she said to me, she said, if I can ask Congress for $20 million for a research program for arthritis at the Department of Defense, I can ask my local pizzeria to donate a gift card to my Walk to Cure Arthritis team. And that just absolutely opened my eyes, because in either case, in advocacy or fundraising, we are persuading people to join our movement, to believe that they can make a game-changing decision for people with arthritis. Whether it's by joining your walk team or joining the Arthritis Caucus, we have a powerful message that we can share and a really empowering movement that people can join. And so we're going to talk more specifically about some of those skills that we have as advocates or that we have as fundraisers that translate so well into our other space. So at this point, I'm going to pass it over to Kelby Peachy. Kelby's just awesome, and she's going to go talk through some tips for success that you can use, some wisdom about the Walk to Cure Arthritis, and then we'll get into some action items that you can take on this month. So Kelby, are you ready to speak?
I'm ready to go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Hi, everybody. Welcome and good morning. As Julie said, I'm Kelby Peachy. I'm the chair of the National Walk to Cure Arthritis Committee, and I'm also a 2017 Platinum Ambassador. I have had ankylosing spondylitis since officially diagnosed in 2000, and I've been on the same biologic medication since 2001. So that is my story, and I'm for the past 10 years have been with the Arthritis Foundation and have really enjoyed fundraising, and most recently have gotten into advocacy, and I've actually found it tremendously helpful to have the advocacy program as a tool belt with my fundraising efforts. So it's kind of a great combination to have, and it's actually helped me fundraise more, which is tremendously helpful. So I guess I would like to go ahead and talk about the tips for success and how you can actually correlate your advocacy efforts towards fundraising. And first I would like to say continue being honest as you're sharing your story and putting a face with our mission to cure arthritis to help decision makers and donors really understand the impact of this disease. And if you feel like you're overwhelming them with the same story, ask a friend that you may have within the Arthritis Foundation if you can share their impactful story. There's been times where I reached out to Anna and asked her if I could share her latest story or her blog post to help further advocate my desire and my needs with my specific representative in my county. And so being able to be honest in not only recognizing my own personal story, but also additional supporters as well. I'd also like to continue with being enthusiastic or having that passion drive through you. Whether we're not making an ask on Capitol Hill or asking someone to join your team, or even if someone is asking you, hey, Kelby, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while. You can actually this is a great opportunity to be able to say, well, actually, I'm going to Washington, D.C. in a couple of weeks to speak to my representatives to see if they would sign on to the latest Arthritis Caucus, or to support the STEP therapy bill program to prevent X, Y, and Z. And being able to be honest about what's going on in your life, but also being enthusiastic in all aspects of an area, so that way when you do have the opportunity to ask them to be on the team, they're not overwhelmed by this being the first thing that they hear. So I also find that very it drives through you, through everything that you do, and being open and honest with you're actually doing with your friends and family when they just simply ask you what's going on. And then don't be afraid to ask. The worst anyone can tell you, lawmaker, neighbor, family member, is no. So there's some times where I have to put on my brave face and kind of go for no, see how many no's I can actually get. So that way I feel a little bit less afraid to do the ask. But I highly encourage, it's actually easier if you ask for a specific amount. So whether or not you're talking to your lawmaker of exactly the amount that they need to support or time commitment, giving them that specific amount is very tremendously successful and helpful. I think the show that you care portion actually kind of comes along with the be enthusiastic or passion part, but when you talk about your advocacy and fundraising online, folks will appreciate seeing that you walk the walk and talk the talk, so that you're more involved and heavily spread out throughout the entire organization, that you're truly driven to drive that mission, to really try and drive that passion to finding that cure that we all desperately want, and hope that it happens quickly and efficiently too. And then last but not least, I love saying thank you and actually handwriting personal thank you notes. I think that goes a long way with not only your officials but also your fundraising supporters, especially family members, just to let them know how grateful we are, and at the very least sending a personal email and say thank you, or a quick phone call. I think that also goes a long way as well. So now that we kind of have some tools and tips in our pocket, let's go ahead and talk about 5 easy steps for advocacy and fundraising. First and foremost, you definitely want to share the need. I have actually, within the past year, since becoming an advocate, and more importantly, I think a platinum ambassador, having that recognition has actually allowed me to share the need in a greater broad spectrum with my family members that know my personal story inside and out. They know how I was diagnosed. They see the pain that I'm in every single day, but they want to know what else is going on with the Arthritis Foundation, how else is it happening. And so you as advocates actually have a great access point to this by being able to share an example like arthritis prevents 1 in 4 Americans from doing the things that they love. They fight and battle against a painful disease every day and need your help. Or saying something advocacy related, something that you're personally working on, or personally sending an email to your representative or senator. So that's definitely an ability to be able to share the need. Next, I would really have to explain why it's important to you. I think that's a great easy step of exactly why are you doing this? Why are you here? Why are you taking the time out of your day to write to the senator or representative or your neighbor or your family member of why you are advocating and why are you fundraising? So an example is my wife is one of those people every day. I watch her struggle with the pain and challenges of arthritis. I am committed to being a champion of yes. The third step is showing what you're doing about it. So now that you've shared the need, you've explained why it's important to you, you want to talk about what you're doing about it. And an example is I'm an advocate for arthritis, and it's my job to put the spotlight on arthritis and help fundraising for a cure. And so really explaining about it, sharing that need, but really explaining why it's important to you and showing what you're actually doing about it. And it was actually a game changer for me personally. I saw an increase in my fundraising efforts, and I saw actually an increase from family, friends, and neighbors with my advocacy efforts and supporting me in that regard. So I think it's a great correlation between the two. The fourth step is asking your elected official or your donor to take a specific action. So as we mentioned within our tool belt, giving them a specific ask or specific donation amount you would like to see. So an example is, will you support the arthritis research at the CDC this appropriate season, or will you make a $50 donation to support my wife or more than 50 million other Americans who have to deal with the effects of this debilitating disease every day. And so you're getting very into what the need is, why it's important to you, what you're doing about it, and now you're giving them, this is exactly what I need at this particular moment in order to make this successful. And then, as always, pause and let your elected official or donor provide an answer. If you do not hear from your elected official, it's okay to go ahead and follow up if you feel like it's appropriate in terms of your ask, and especially with your donor, sending out multiple emails or even a quick phone call and letting them know, hey, I sent you an email a couple of weeks ago letting you know that I'm fundraising, and I just wanted to make sure that you got it, and I would love to talk to you more about what I'm really doing on the and why this is so important to me, and give you a little bit more information about it. Last thing I want to do is overwhelm your inbox on an email. I respect and appreciate how busy you are. Do you have 5 minutes to talk about it? And then you can go into your additional 4 other steps and being able to go through it. And then, as always, within that toolkit that we just talked about previously before, sending that thank you note, whether or not they donated, whether or not they signed up for the actual program, whatever they did. If they took their time out of their day, always saying thank you is a great way to wrap things up, and it also puts a great positive light on you and what you are representing in terms of the Arthritis Foundation.
That's awesome, Kelby. Thank you so much. And one other tip that we got from another Platinum Ambassador who's on the phone, Peter Fisher, he wanted to give us a quick reminder that if you are sending a handwritten thank you note to your elected official, that the best place to send it is to their local office, their local in-district office, so that it more easily gets to their desk, because sometimes when we send those thank you notes to Capitol Hill, they have to go through a really rigorous screening process. So the best way to follow up with that thank you note to your elected official, if you want to write a handwritten note, which I'm like Kelby, I'm old-fashioned, I love those handwritten notes, I think that the best place to send it is your local office, and you can find that local office address by simply going into our voter voice system and looking up your elected officials there. All right, Kelby, back to you.
Awesome. So one way that we've actually made this even easier and kind of updated to more of the modern times is making it accessible in the palm of your hand. So we have 2 new apps available for you. So the new mobile app makes it easier to manage your team, send emails and text to your friends, thank donors, and post updates to social media. It's extremely easy to use. It's actually user-friendly. I downloaded it last night. It was super easy to connect. Not only adding my contact list directly from my phone without needing to go into multiple accounts or needing to try and write everyone's email address, it pulled directly from my phone. And then it was actually able to connect to my social media apps that were already downloaded, which made it super easy to be able to create. And then there's also the new Voter Voice app that we've recently switched over to with this new advocacy platform. And both of them are available for free in the App Store or Google Play, and you just have to search Walk to Cure Arthritis to be able to download them. So it's super simple, super easy to use, and available for not only Android but iOS as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kelby. One more tip for that Voter Voice one. If you download the Voter Voice app in Google Play or the App Store, all you have to do is search for Arthritis Foundation, and you'll have access to our whole platform there. Kelby, you did such a great job. Thank you so much for sharing those tips and that wisdom. I really, really appreciate your joining the call today. For the next couple of minutes, we're going to talk about how we can put some of these skills, some of these resources and tools that Kelby talked about as being a part of our toolkit into action. And so what we want to do is introduce you guys to a really cool project that we're launching for next month. We're going to be participating in a social media campaign about advocating for arthritis. And our social media campaign is going to talk about why we advocate, why we share our stories. So our goal is to prepare to connect over the next few weeks on social media in this advocacy campaign. So what am I talking about here? On March 13th, we're going to be flooding the internet with lots of messages about why we advocate for arthritis. What's so special about March 13th? Well, that's the day that our Platinum Ambassadors, as a part of our Platinum Ambassador Assembly, will be going up to Capitol Hill to meet with their members of Congress and their staff in person. Our goal is to help to amplify their messages. We want to make sure that we provide them with the social support on social media outlets that can really help elected officials and our community members understand the important work that we're doing and see our movement face to face. So what are we going to do? Well, what we're going to do is take signs. We've had our marketing and communications team prepare 8x11 signs that you can print out at home that say, "Unstoppable against arthritis." And they provide you with a sentence prompt. It says, I #advocate for arthritis because, and then there's lots of space where you can fill in your reason. We want to keep these short and sweet and to the point. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold these signs up and take pictures of ourselves holding these signs. And then on March 13th, we're going to post them on social media with our #advocate for arthritis so that we can gather them all in one space and really help promote what we're doing as an Arthritis Foundation volunteer, be it grassroots or fundraising. So what does that look like? Here are our steps for success. We're going to create our signs. On Friday of this week, we're going to be posting a blog that contains this webinar and the sign that we're hoping that you'll use to create your pictures and directions, step-by-step directions that can be helpful for you as you go through this process. So first, you're going to take your picture. You'll create your sign with your reason. You'll have one sentence written down large and legibly to tell people why you advocate for arthritis. You'll take a picture of yourself holding your sign, and the most important thing is that we can see the words in your picture and read them legibly. Then, you're going to hold off until March 13th. On March 13th, we're hoping that after you've taken your picture, you'll set an alarm on your phone for 12 p.m. Eastern Time on March 13th. Our hope is that we can all press send on our messages at the same time so that we can really gain traction around our hashtag and hopefully have it trend on Twitter, on Facebook, on social media platforms alike. So what we would like you to do is use these pictures to either create a promotion for your Walk to Cure Arthritis team or to create a promotion for what we're doing on Capitol Hill that day. So you'll draft your Advocate for Arthritis post, and then you'll get ready to either tag your legislators, tag the Arthritis Foundation, and most importantly, #advocate for arthritis. So I realize I've done a lot of talking here, but I want to show you some examples. And here are what some look like. These are some very nerdy pictures that I took in my office. This is not our branded sign, but I wanted to show you what we were talking about before we had all of our final graphics, which we got this morning, so we're so excited to post them up. But I took a picture holding my sign that says, I advocate for arthritis because patients deserve a say in the decision-making process. And then I provided two sample tweets here. The first one is, I advocate for arthritis because patients deserve a say in their healthcare decisions. And I tagged my New Jersey senators, and I said, look out for our advocates and ambassadors on the Hill this March 13th. alternately, you can post a similar post about why you advocate for arthritis, and you can encourage others to support you and what you're doing by asking them to support your Walk to Cure Arthritis team. If you haven't already, I encourage you to sign up for the walk in your area. And if you don't have a walk in your area, you can use a link to our national Walk to Cure Arthritis page, and I'll include that in our blog post on Friday that will be blasted out to everybody. But this tweet says, you can support my Arthritis Foundation advocacy by contributing to my walk team. It's a really easy way to show people what's important to you, why advocacy or fundraising or the Arthritis Foundation or sharing your story is so important to you. And it's a really fun way to help provide and to help amplify our message as we go to Capitol Hill. So we really hope you'll participate. On Friday, again, we're going to have a blog post that has all of these directions written out for you, and we really, really hope to see you guys on social media that day. If you tag our Arthritis Foundation page, we'll help amplify that message by retweeting or reposting or liking on Facebook. And all of those messages will be populated. We're going to have an aggregator as a part of our Platinum Ambassador Assembly website where you can see all of the posts from that day, regardless of social media that they were posted on, with our hashtag Advocate for Arthritis. So at this point, I want to give everybody an opportunity to ask some questions about this activity, about fundraising and advocacy, and hear some answers to those things. So if you want to ask your question live, you can hit #6 to unmute your line, or you can type your question into the Q&A or chat features of WebEx.
Hi, this is Angela Ford. I went online last night. Hello?
Hi, Angela.
Hi. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. I went online last night to register for the Walk for Cure here in Florida, but I noticed that there is not one here in Jacksonville. Is that something that we can get spearheaded, or I can get started, or can you give me some information on how we can get one started here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm sorry, were you saying something else?
No. No, I was waiting on
okay.
you.
Thank you. Yes, so we have a Platinum Ambassador who's in your area. Her name is Jennifer Ross, and she'll be able to help connect you with some opportunities to really help spearhead that movement. She's in Middleburg, but if you wouldn't mind staying on the line toward the end of the call, I'll collect your email address, unless you want to chat that to me, and I'll connect you and Jen to make that relationship happen, and you guys can start working together on just that.
All right, that sounds great. I'll go ahead and stay online after the call because I'm right in the middle of upgrading the media player, so I didn't get the visual on the webinar today, only voice.
Okay, yeah, and we'll have our webinar posted online shortly. And I've got 2 questions about where this might be posted. The webinar will be posted in our video training center online, and I'm going to show you real quick where that is. So if you come out to the advocacy page, this is our website here. If you come out to our advocacy page, you can go to our Advocate Tools and Resources and click into our video training center, where you'll be able to see all of our videos that we've done for my internet's extra slow right now, but all of our videos that we've done that you can check into and catch up on to see where those will be. And then the blog will be posted up here on our Arthritis Foundation blog. The advocacy blog, as this is going kind of slowly, you can click right here to get into it, and that's where this will be posted.
Okay, wonderful.
And you can also sign up for the blog if you want to. If you just scroll down, there's an option to sign up for the e-newsletter, and then you can see those blog links as quickly as possible. And yeah, I got one more request. I'm going to pop those in to all attendees. Here's the link for our blog, and here is the link for our Advocate webinar series. and you can explore those resources there. We're going to be posting a number of our webinars from this past month later today, and we'll have more of our blog information on Friday when that'll go live. Do we have any other questions? Awesome. So just one more reminder, our hashtag on March 13th will be Advocate for Arthritis. And there's one more opportunity I wanted to let you guys know about. This is not an advocacy or a fundraising opportunity, but it is a really great way to become more connected to our Arthritis Foundation community. Immediately before the Platinum Ambassador Assembly next month, there's going to be the Arthritis United Conference. And it's part of our Arthritis Support Network. It's their premier event for the year, and it takes place on March 10th and 11th. And this year they're doing something really awesome and new. They're providing a virtual attendee opportunity. So if you would like to hear some of the sessions and get some networking opportunities to meet some other people with arthritis, you can register and see some of our amazing sessions that they're going to be hosting. We're going to have ones that I think are really cool. Are a panel led about arthritis and pregnancy, comorbidities going outside of our arthritis umbrella, a rheumatologist's strategy for managing pain and fatigue, and inspiring creative strategies to address your conditions. So this is a really great opportunity. You can search online. I'll provide the link here as well for the Arthritis United Conference, so you can see that in your chat features if that's something that interests you. So at this point, we're at our 30-minute mark. I want to say thank you once more to Kelby Calvi for joining us today. Send good health vibes to Anna Lagasse, and really thank all of you for joining us for this really engaging and empowering session today. I really appreciate the time you took out of your day to spend with us.